Please tell us about yourself. What are your interests and hobbies? My name is Fatima Inot and I am 24 years old. I am from the beautiful country of Philippines. Aside from my love in teaching, I also love dancing, photography, and doing art designs. And I also love traveling and exploring new adventures. Are you involved in extracurricular activities that you could coach or supervise? Yes, I was involved in extracurricular activities where in fact, I was one of the dancers during our city fiesta for our teachers' night for 3 consecutive years. I was able to supervise our students in which I am the coach in the hip hop dance competition during our school's intramurals and also during the division level Matsayaw competition. Why did you decide to become a teacher for the subject for which you are applying? Since then, I am in love in numbers and critical reasoning. The reason why I want to teach mathematics because I really want to make a difference and let them realize how engaging and fun in solving real life problems. I want to inspire others and let them appreciate the beauty of mathematics without them telling that this is one of the difficult subjects, but rather see how useful and easy this subject is. Are you currently employed as a teacher? Yes, I am currently affiliated with my alma mater, Mandawi City Comprehensive National High School, and have been teaching for more than 3 years. How many hours per day do you teach and how many days per week? We are required to render 8 hours a day and 5 times a week. In my case, I teach 6 hours per day and the remaining time is for my advisory class duties, lesson planning, checking and recording of students' outputs. Describe your teaching experience. What subjects have you taught and what grade level? Since teaching is my childhood dream, there is no single day that I wasn't able to enjoy my life being a teacher. It always gives me a self-satisfaction every time I see those painted smiles on my students' faces. I have been teaching general mathematics, statistics and probability, and other non-major subjects like empowerment technologies, media information literacy, entrepreneurship, reading and writing, oral communication, earth and life science, and values education to grades 11 and 12 students. Describe other work experiences you have had besides teaching. Unfortunately, I do not have any experience besides teaching because I am fortunate enough to be able to teach in a public school right after I graduated. Since my scholarship requires me to render a service to our country that is equivalent to the number of years that I am a scholar student. Have you ever worked in the United States? If so, when, where, and why? No, I haven't worked in the United States. This is my first time to look for an opportunity abroad and hopefully this would be my first experience to teach in a multicultural environment. What do you hope to be doing professionally 5 years from now? I am driven to be the best at what I do and I want to work where I can fully develop my skills and take an interesting work with the people I can really learn from. Ultimately, I'd like to assume more responsibilities that would help contribute for my professional growth. If I were to talk several of your colleagues, how would they describe your personality? My colleagues have told me that I am extremely organized and excellent at time management. They praise me for developing and sticking to a timeline of all our reports. They also describe me to be very creative and even appreciate how I design my classroom. They also referred me to be part of the decoration committee. What would your students say about you? My students would say that I am tough but fun because I want to create a positive learning environment and at the same time I want to be strict in enforcing rules. I care about my students and I want the best for them. I develop strong connections with my students and I believe they would also say that I am a good listener, fair at giving feedback, and dedicated to their success. How do you prepare to teach your lessons? First, I need to establish my goals so that I will be guided and my students will have a clear vision to what will happen. Second, I need to gather basic and useful teaching materials. These materials will make my planning and teaching easier. And I have also to make sure that these materials are properly protected because they are used many times. And I also use technology and I make sure to prepare non-technical backup activity if ever my equipment fails unexpectedly. What would your lesson plans include? In lesson planning, I always keep in mind what will be my objectives and visualize my class. My lesson plan includes the specific learning competency for that particular topic, the learning objectives, and the teaching materials needed. In my lesson proper, it starts with an introductory activity that will energize and encourage students' engagement, followed by another activity that will connect to the main topic, and then analysis wherein it comprises guide questions to help me further discuss the topic. And the next is the instruction, wherein the discussion, teaching strategies and techniques, and classroom management happens. And then followed by the application, wherein it will give an idea to the students of how the topic is useful. And then followed by the assessment to test if the students really understand the topic, as well as to help the teachers determine in which part of the topic do the students find it difficult. And lastly is the assignment, wherein it could be to reinforce learning or to help the student prepare for the next discussion. Think about a class that you have taught recently. Talk about 2 of the teaching strategies or methods that you use. The teaching strategies that I recently used, first is the discovery approach. In my class, I let them answer first activities. I gave them ample time to answer, and then after the time allotted, we check it, and at the same time, I discuss the steps in getting the correct answers. Because I believe since they already have their prior knowledge with the activity, it is easier for them to identify their learning and make corrections about it. The second one is the knowledge constructive jigsaw method, in which I made different sets of activities. In their home group, they are asked to answer activity and discuss it. After the time, they assigned number to each member of the group and move to their expert group. In their expert group, they are given another set of activity to answer and share with their group. And then after the allotted time, they have to go back to their home group and discuss and share also what have they learned from their expert group. What methods do you use to grade or evaluate your students' progress? The methods that I use to grade or evaluate my students' progress are through formative and summative assessments. In formative assessment, it includes me giving activity that they can apply in real life. I also evaluate them through a game. Like for example, I make a Who Wants to Be a Millionaire game using a PowerPoint presentation. In summative assessment, I do paper pencil tests and moving examinations. I also let my students make their own portfolios because aside from evaluating them, I also want to monitor their progress. If you use technology in your teaching, describe how you use it. With the advent of technology that tends to surface from time to time, it would be best for teachers like me to adapt to the changes. In teaching mathematics, using technology is a must for the students to be able to visualize the things that I am discussing. Laptops, projectors, or even cell phones can be a very big help. Like for example, I usually use GeoGebra application to let the students see the movements of the graphs. I also integrate videos or even using Microsoft Excel in my discussion to really help the student appreciate the beauty of mathematics. If you have students who are noisy or non-attentive, share with us 2 ways you get them to be quiet and concentrate. I usually encountered students who are noisy or non-attentive, and these are the ways that I do to get their attention. First, I go near towards the students, but the discussion or activity is still going on. If I already get their attention, I will again roam around and go back to my original place. The second one is by using the student's name as an example, so that they will be reminded that I notice their behaviors. Describe the most difficult problem you have had to deal with as a teacher and how did you solve this problem? One of the most difficult problem I had to deal with as a teacher, it was when one of my students' guardian texted me in a weekend morning that a student attempted to commit a suicide. I know that this is confidential, so as much as possible, I will keep his information private. What I did, I told his close friends to not tell anybody about what happened. When he came back right after few days of absent, I did not call him right away. But after the class discussion, I let him bring some of the instructional materials to the office, and it gives me an opportunity to talk to him. I remind him how precious life is and you have to take care of it. After our talk, I tell him that I will refer him to the school nurse to assess his mental health condition. Give one example to show that you're a flexible person and that you can make changes to your teaching and methods if that is necessary. Since I usually use technology in my class, one example that will show that I am a flexible person in which I can make changes to my teaching is when there is an unexpected electricity shortage. That time, I am using PowerPoint presentation in delivering my lesson. But since I already have my non-technical backup visual aids and activities, my lesson still flows smoothly. Is there anything you would like to add about your qualifications that we may not be aware of? I would like to include some of my achievements. One of which is I am proud that I was once a grantee of the Department of Science and Technology under Junior Level Science Scholarship. This scholarship is granted to 10% of the third-year college students taking up math and science-related courses across 17 geographical regions in the Philippines. I was also awarded with a no dropout for the school year 2018 to 2019, wherein it demonstrates my dedication in motivating my students to continue learning and dreaming. Have you spoken to your family about going to the United States to teach? Is there anything, such as a family member, that might object to your leaving home? Are you aware that your family members may not join you here until approximately 4 to 6 weeks after your arrival? Yes, I've already talked with my family about me going to teach in the United States, and I am grateful that they've supported me from the start. And yes, I am also aware that they may not join me for a few months after my arrival because I still have to adjust and process the required documents. But since I am single, I am also aware that only the husband and wife or sons and daughters are eligible to apply for a J2 visa. Do you understand and accept that FACES is a 3-year program and after 3 years, you must return to your home country? Do you agree to this? Yes, I understand and accept that FACES is a 3-year program. Since I will be applying for a J1 visa, I am aware that when I finish my 3-year program, I need to return to my home country to share the culture and experiences that I have learned to the young children here in my country.